Fall gardens can be spectacular, with beautiful combinations of jewel-toned colors. Fall perennial bloomers tend to be tall and stately, since they have all season to grow. Choosing the stars of these plants can produce a garden that lasts well into the first frost. Fireworks goldenrod, Solidago rugosa, is finally getting some respect. Unlike natives that spread everywhere and never stood up, these cultivars are sturdy and full of blossoms. At 2 to 4 feet tall, Fireworks is more compact than most of the species and flowers more heavily. It's great for migrating butterflies that use the nectar to fuel their fall migration, and for bees that rely on the pollen and nectar to build up winter stores. It grows best in a sunny, moist, well-drained site. Deer-resistant, hardy in zones 1 through 9. North American hay-scented fern, Denstetia punctilobula. This fern's lacy foliage smells of freshly mown grass and carpets the woodland or a moist, partially sunny site. The green lushness turns golden in the fall. It's native to North America and can be invasive. Although it prefers part to full shade and moist, acidic soil, with consistent moisture it can tolerate more sun. Slugs and snails love it, but it's deer and frost tolerant. It's a real 3-season plant with spring, summer, and fall interest, hardy from zones 1 through 9. Old Timey forget-me-nots, Myosotis, although a spring bloomer, it persists into summer, and its foliage is lovely into fall. It readily reseeds itself and spreads even to the point of being invasive. Its lovely blue flowers make sure you'll remember it year after year. Hardy from zones 5 through 9. Repetition seems to be the rule with ground covers, and this is especially true with Pachysandra terminalis, Japanese Pachysandra. The southeast native Allegheny Pachysandra, Pachysandra procumbens, is a tough woodland plant that tolerates both drought and shade, making it a great addition to the shade garden. Fragrant flowers appear in early spring. Although the foliage is rather dull-looking in the summer, as fall arrives the leaves turn blotched shades of chocolate, silver, and green. The color persists until spring and offers good winter interest. It occurs naturally in moist, humus-rich soil in deciduous woodlands and has no serious insect or disease problems. Hardy in zones 3 through 8. Goldstrom, Rudbeckia fulgida, is one of the most popular of the Rudbeckia, with its shiny green leaves and beautiful flowers. It's a great cut flower. Goldfinches feed on its seed, and butterflies love it. It blooms well into fall and provides great color for the fall garden. It is the 1999 Perennial Plant of the Year, hardy in zones 3 through 8. Sedum Autumn Joy is as dependable and adaptable as they come. Its flowers bloom from August into November, and it looks good all year round with minimal attention. It's not deer-resistant, but is fairly trouble-free. It attracts butterflies and will grow in full sun to part shade. Good in zones 1 through 9. Asklepios, butterfly weed, milkweed, is named for its milky juice. Some species are known to be toxic. Although called weeds, they are showy, easy-to-grow garden plants. They bloom in summer, bearing many small star-like flowers in broad, flattened clusters at branch tips. After the flowers fade, silky seeds burst from inflated seed pods and float through the air like dandelion seeds. It is among the best plants for attracting butterflies, especially monarchs, whose caterpillars feast on the foliage. Native to the eastern U.S., it is hardy from zones 2 through 9. It's a great addition to the fall garden. Anemone X hybrida, Japanese anemone, is a garden gem that makes its presence known during the fall. They are 2 to 4 feet tall, open and somewhat sprawling perennials. The deep green, deeply notched leaves and the many flowered stems are held above the foliage. Japanese anemone need a deep, rich, loamy, uniformly moist soil to do their best. Morning sun and afternoon shade, such as the east side of the house, is ideal. They have poor drought tolerance, but they are good spreaders and are hardy in zones 4 through 8. Joe Pye weed, Eupatorium purpureum, is one of those plants we take for granted because we see it by the side of the road. It is an amazing plant that is an herb, a wildflower, a butterfly plant, and an ornamental for the flower bed. It makes a wonderful backdrop to a garden border. Newer varieties are shorter and less weedy. Their beautiful mop-headed mauve flowers blend in beautifully in fall gardens where it will bloom until frost. It's hardy in zones 2 through 9. Turtlehead, Chelone, is a perennial found throughout most of the eastern half of the United States. It is usually found along stream banks and in damp ground, growing to a height of 2 to 3 feet. White flowers, often with a pink tinge, appear between midsummer and fall. It needs moist to wet or mucky soils, a neutral soil pH, and light levels between full sun and partial shade. Hardy in zones 3 through 9. Asarum, wild ginger, is a perennial with shiny, heart-shaped leaves. It blooms in early spring and continues into late spring. It spreads via roots and sometimes grows in dense stands. When not in flower, it can be identified by probing just below the ground with a finger and scratching the root. A ginger-like smell on the finger will be proof. These are only a few of the many perennials that will add color and interest to the garden as temperatures cool in the fall.